Hey everybody, welcome back to Unlocking the Paradigm Portal. My name is Sarah, and I am back for another episode tonight. So pardon me if I cough a little bit. I'm going to try not to do it too much, but I am still recuperating a bit. But I wanted to come on and continue what I started this morning about connecting back to your body and somatic practices. And again, if you're not sure what a somatic practice is, it is learning to connect back to your body. Like literally, that's the basis of it. And it's very foundational, and it sounds so simple, but it can feel really surprisingly hard for most everyone, because being in our bodies can feel very difficult and unsafe. It can feel scary because it's not about fixing them or optimizing them or pushing them to perform. It's just listening and being present. And being present is a very difficult concept for most people, especially in a world that teaches us that we need to be busy all the time. And this conversation matters because most of us live from the neck up. We're caught up in our minds. We think our way through life. We analyze, we plan, we problem solve, and we push. And when the body sends signals like fatigue or tension or anxiety or pain, we often override those because our mind seems to think it knows better than our body. And then we tell ourselves, I'll rest later. I don't have time to slow down. It's not that bad. Or other people need me more. Which, side note, that's a big old red flag that you have not been prioritizing yourself. And maybe you never learned to. And this is your opportunity to start learning that you are very valuable and you are very important. And the trouble is that over time, all of these beliefs or all these thoughts become beliefs, and then it becomes your normal. But the body never stops communicating, and it just gets quieter sometimes or louder and louder and louder until we listen. So tonight, I want to help you rebuild a relationship with your body, one that feels safe and it feels simple and accessible. So I'm going to do my best to keep this as like bite-sized pieces as I can. So first question, why do we learn to ignore our bodies? So we're going to start here because this isn't your fault. Let me repeat that. This is not your fault that you learn to ignore your body. Most of us were taught, whether directly or indirectly, that productivity equals worth. Rest must be earned. That was a big one for me. And I remember getting called out in therapy years ago when I said I hadn't done enough to deserve it. And I was calling it a lazy day. And my therapist very quickly was like, it's not lazy, it's self-care. And that was just a foreign concept to me. And we also learn to tune out from our bodies because a lot of times emotions are inconvenient. And we've got other things on our plate to deal with, and sensations become something to push through. And I mean, I can't even count the number of times that I would say to myself or even to my kids, like, suck it up, buttercup, push through, you can do this. And looking back, I'm literally face-palming myself constantly about that. And I've been working very hard to undo a lot of that destruction that created in my own mindset, let alone trickling down into my children. So another thing is that often it feels like not only the sensations are too much and something to push through, but our needs make us too much. They make us too much. And I've spoken with many people who, when I ask them, what do you need? And I don't mean the basics, but just what do you need right now? That concept is foreign. And they're like, I don't need anything. I don't need anything. We all have needs, and it does not make you too much. So also, many of us learn very early that tuning out of the body helps us survive. So if you grew up in chaos or unpredictability or emotional neglect or high expectations, then your nervous system has adapted by staying alert and staying busy and staying useful and staying disconnected from the sensations that your body is sending to you. And disconnection wasn't a failure, it was intelligence. But what protected you then may be costing you now. So to break it all down, nervous system regulation, what is this? You've probably heard about it. I guarantee you've seen 1,000 videos on here talking about it. So to break it down very simply, your nervous system is constantly asking one question: am I safe right now? And when the answer is yes, your body can digest food, it can repair tissues, it thinks clearly, it feels grounded and present. And I know that you will be able to recognize that at some point in the past when it was just, it's a good day. That means that your nervous system is calm. But when the answer is no, whether it is a real or a perceived threat, and your nervous system is saying, we are not safe right now, then your body shifts into protection via fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Have you heard about those four? Pretty sure you have. And fun fact, it can be a combination of multiple all at one time, which gets very confusing. And that is like super nervous system overload when it clashes with all of the different ones. And I've said this in previous videos that I've found when my nervous system feels very, very, very threatened, again, whether real or perceived, and now as an adult, it's more often perceived, I go into a combination of freeze mode where I physically feel frozen. I cannot move. I cannot do anything. But internally, I am in the most aggressive flight mode, like 5-alarm, fire, get out, it's not safe. And feeling that discrepancy between the two, once I was able to actually feel it through some somatic body work that I had done with another practitioner, it was shocking, to be totally honest. But all of a sudden, things started to make sense because I was in a safe space with a safe person and could experience it in real time. And then I could identify that in other situations. And that was really probably the first time that I was able to recognize what situations or people or interactions started to feel or had been feeling very unsafe, but my nervous system was so acclimated to it, if that makes sense. And then it became uncomfortable because I could tell instead of just being on autopilot. That was where things got cool and life took off, because then I wasn't dictated by an overactive nervous system. So nervous system regulation is not about being calm all the time. Like, that's one huge misconception that I feel a lot of people have. It's about helping your body return to safety after stress. And the fastest way to do that is through the body, not the mind. So another component of this, which is a practice that I do with clients, is somatic respiratory integration. That's a mouthful, right? It sounds confusing, especially if you've never heard of it. It's basically using the breath to connect back to your body. And it helps develop body awareness in order to create safety and regulation and connection. And instead of controlling the breath, what we do is we notice it, we follow it, and we let it move naturally. And you feel where it lands in the body, and then that breath that seems so obvious that you've been doing since the moment you came out of the womb, that breath becomes a bridge between sensation, emotion, awareness, which ultimately creates regulation. And you don't have to breathe deeply. You don't have to do it right. In fact, there is no right. You just have to be curious and to notice. So a simple somatic respiratory practice, and if it's easier, you can call it body breath connection. And the woman that I did the training with actually coined that phrase because it just is so much more approachable. You're using the breath to connect to your body. So one simple little practice that you can try just for a minute or two, and you can do it anywhere, is just place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, and don't change your breath. Just notice. Where do you feel the breath more? Does it feel like it's coming out of your belly? Does it feel like it's coming more out of your chest? And just notice those two spots for right now. And is it shallow or is it expansive? Does it feel easy or does it feel guarded? And that's it. That's the whole practice. No fixing, no forcing. It's just cultivating awareness. And that awareness alone is what begins that regulation. That is the key to tuning back into your body. Just taking a minute and noticing, what does it feel like to breathe? Have you ever actually stopped and asked yourself that? What does it feel like to breathe? Because breathing is automatic. You don't even think about it. So maybe take a moment and notice. So why does tuning into this feel really hard at first? It gets a lot easier. That one I promise. And I don't make promises often, but when I do, I'm serious. It does feel very difficult at first because for many people, slowing down feels uncomfortable. Because when you pause, you might notice things like anxiety, sadness, restlessness, emotional noise, or the urges to distract yourself or get really busy. And that does not mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're finally listening. And the body speaks softly at first. And when it realizes that you're paying attention, it may share more. And that's okay. Again, remember all these feelings coming up, including anxiety, those are sensations. That's all. They're just sensations alerting you that there is something here to notice. And your body just wants to be noticed. Think of it like a child who's having a very difficult time or throwing a tantrum. They're just needing to be seen. They're just needing to be noticed. And that's what your body is doing when you're getting these sensations coming up. And it's okay, and you will be okay. And you don't have to stay in that space forever feeling all of that. You're just slowly building up a tolerance for presence. So some super simple tools to tune back in that are low effort and like no spiritual performance required is a 30-second body check. So once a day, you can do this any time of day. Where do I feel tension? Just ask yourself, where am I feeling tension right now in your body? And where do I feel ease? No story, just notice. You don't need to deconstruct it. You don't need to make sense of it. Just notice just for that second. Now, another thing that you can do as like the next step is what we'll call hand to body breathing. And that is place your hand anywhere on your body that feels neutral or comforting and just breathe naturally for 3 to 5 breaths. And let your body know, I'm here, I'm listening. Hell, you can say that in your mind just to kind of drive that home. And as you are breathing, just name one sensation. And whatever comes up, just run with it. So if you're feeling bad that you're taking time away from your family or your job to be with yourself, try digging under that. Pull at the threads of that. You feel bad, but what does that feel like? Does it feel tight? Does it feel heavy? Warm? Do you get a buzzing? Or does it feel soft? And this helps your nervous system feel oriented and safe. And ask your body in that moment, once you've identified what that feeling is, what would feel supportive right now? And that might be a foreign concept for you, and that's okay. Just be compassionate and thoughtful and curious. What would feel supportive right now? And just so you know, I don't know is a perfectly valid answer. But start with something small and honor that. Maybe you're thirsty. You might notice that. That's a sensation. I feel thirsty. And honor that by, when you're all done, get a little drink of water. Or your body might feel really tight, so just stand up and stretch your arms. If you're sitting at work while you're doing this, arch your back over your chair, shift around. Just allow your body to move just a little bit. If you're at home, you can full on stretch. If it's in the morning before you get up, do that. This is my favorite thing, is to just do a big giant stretch in all directions just to kind of loosen up before getting up. There's something about it. Maybe I feel like a cat stretching. I don't know, but it's a really awesome way to start my day. And if you're feeling tired, then allow yourself a few minutes to rest. Or if there is just too much sensory overload, then allow yourself a few minutes of silence. Maybe you take a couple of minutes in your car to just music off, tune everybody out, close your eyes if you feel comfortable, and just be in the quiet. And if you're feeling cold, which anyone who's in this wonderful cold spell, then maybe you need to put a sweater on, or when you go home, get under a blanket, something, or take a hot shower, something to just bring some warmth into your body. Because you don't have to fix your life, you just have to respond to these little sensations. And when you learn to listen to your body, decisions become clearer, burnout becomes avoidable, boundaries start to feel natural. And I'm going to do another video very soon about boundaries, because I'm realizing a lot of people confuse them with walls. And also, rest begins to feel deserved, and trust rebuilds within yourself. And you stop treating your body like it's an inconvenience, and you start treating it like it's an ally that you are working together with. And if you take nothing else from this episode, let it be this: your body is not betraying you. It's been trying to protect you, and it's been waiting for you to listen. You don't need hours. You don't need perfection, just a few moments of presence again and again. And that's where regulation begins. That is where healing lives. So please feel free to leave a comment if you try any of these, and if you notice anything. I would love to hear from you. And as always, like, share, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And that's all great, and I deeply appreciate it. It's helping my channel get more traction. However, the more important thing to me is that you take this info and that you apply it to yourself, because all I want is for you to begin to recalibrate your system so that you can identify safety, you can identify softness, you can identify your nervous system being able to turn off even just for a few moments. So I will be back tomorrow for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.